My friend.
Are we trying to create a relationship?
Do you know you're actually catching on every time I change that up? You're the only one. I was hoping our listeners would too as well, and they will.
Like
I do change that.
We're going to eat our way in. We're going to ship our way in.
Jump. We're going to fly next and all that kind of stuff.
Who are we shipping this segment with?
That's with you. Hometown Heroes Live. Tell me about it, Jared. What do you got? New festival news around the world. This is exciting.
This is
just
good.
like this. Oh, there we go.
So Hometown Heroes Live was last weekend. It was mostly in Texas. So it was in North Dallas. It was in Austin. It was in Lubbock.
So 3 locations.
3 locations, 2 nights. They had, how would you describe it? Like I would say they'd have the acts that were going to play live at each of the shows, and then some of those acts that were playing in Austin would be streamed in Lubbock and North Dallas. If you're playing North Dallas, they'd stream those out. And it was just a creative way that these guys came up with to have what has probably been called the largest scale musical event post-COVID. I didn't know we were post-COVID. I thought we were like three-quarters of the way in
Still
COVID.
In it.
Maybe. I don't know, depending on which side of the news you leave, but
what was cool about that? So there's 3 locations going all on at once.
Right.
So what was cool is that they all had their set and their headliners at each different area.
Right. So
Snoop, one would play. Right. So Snoop would play.
Right.
And then they'd stream it to the other 2.
Right.
And then when Snoop came off, and then who was on? Dave Matthews was on the other one, right?
Not Dave Matthews, but we'll call it Cody Johnson.
Okay, so say Cody Johnson was playing,
right?
And then Cody Johnson would be in the other location, and then the one that Snoop just played will be streaming Cody Johnson. So it was really cool,
like back and forth, and they streamed it. They were able to spread out the people. Mm-hmm. We got the picture here from their website. It's another, what would you call it? A deviation of the concert cages.
Concert cages, yeah. If you're listening and you want to see the picture, jump over to our YouTube channel and you'll see that picture, which is really cool. It's actually a lot of bike fence in sectors off, and it looks like they can fit about 4 or 5 people in each one.
Got a table. Yeah. Some of them have tables. I guess if you're a VIP, you get a table. If you're not VIP, you don't get a table.
Yeah.
One little table to hold your stuff.
Check it out, though. It's an interesting photo.
Yeah, I saw some photos. I think it was like from Austin360.com. If you went there, it showed people, 2s, 4s in their little area. They brought their chairs. They got set up. What I liked about this story is this started off as one of our drive-in events, right? Mm-hmm. And so they were going to have a drive-in event. They were picking locations to do it. And it went from a drive-in event to a in-person
a non-drive-in.
Right.
Yeah, it's pods. It is pods, but it's biked off with bike fence and rope.
And it's innovative at this point because we're moving around and we're trying to get to better, at least get to a sense of normality.
And I like it because it's progressive, right? It's different now. It's not cars. It's people in their little sections, and there's tons of them.
Right. And then the other thing that they did that was interesting is they used the Ruvi app, and I've never heard of it before, but when you looked at it, that's how people were ordering their concessions, or if they wanted merch, they would order it from the Ruvi app. They would deliver it to your little pod section, and then you never had to go in and be around and be around people. And then if you wanted a ride to the bathroom or the porta potties, you could summon that from the Ruvi app as well. So they're thinking, and they are the 2 guys that put this on, I think, are father and son.
Oh, that's cool.
And they run a pretty big music location or bar in Texas, where they do a lot of the country music live country music scene. So they were just trying to come up with better ways that they could do this. So
what's interesting too, so when one was done on one location and they streamed the other one over into one that just got done,
right?
You know what that did? It gave them time to set up for the next headliner and disinfect everything.
Right. And they just
so timing was great.
They did. And it was a cool, clever idea.
Yeah.
So you could
check it out.
You had to have 3 stages. So I don't know how well that worked out all the way around, but it's an idea and it works. And it's probably the biggest one we've seen come across so far.
And progressing quickly.
Right.
From nothing to streaming.
Right.
To drive-in cars and and driving cars streaming. They weren't even there.
Right.
To cars and people that were there.
Right.
Performing in front of cars to
and they're
actually
just
people there now.
They're just trying it. Like a bunch of comedians are out on the road doing the drive-ins right now. They figured out where the fun ones are. You found a couple this weekend that actually had drive-in concerts.
Yeah, Chris Jansen had a drive-in show at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Motor Inn.
So, when you say this, when you first told me about it, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. It just got a gigantic parking lot. They would just set up the stage in the parking lot and go. And you're like, no. They set up the stage and then the people were in the
infield. It looked like that's what it looked like from what I saw in photos I saw and videos I saw.
Right.
But what was interesting, so Chris Jansen was there. This wasn't streamed on a video screen and people were sitting in their cars watching it. He was physically there on stage performing.
Right. And Chris was supposed to be your headliner, your Friday night headliner this year?
Correct, in 2020.
You got a bunch of notifications on that, so you're definitely interested.
Well, we always follow everybody that whoever's popular and hot in country music, which he is.
Right.
He's killing it. Done. Number one song in America about a month ago.
I love that song.
But what was kind of some of the stuff I saw was that it was a little odd to me, right? Just because of this video that I saw, he was on stage and it was from the stage moving out, shooting out to the crowd.
Right.
And it was just a bunch of cars and there was a couple that was backed up, I'm sure it was VIP because they're in front row. In their truck, but not sitting on the tailgate. They had to sit on the bed of their truck, which must have been something to do with the rules and regulations that they had. But there's just two people there. And then two people in a bunch of cars that looked like they were the only two there. And he was like, had like the concert
you got a private concert.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If you really love Chris Jansen, you're those two people.
Hey, concert of the century.
Well, the thing that I've heard in listening to a bunch of comedians that have been out on the road is you have to get out as the performer or as the talent and establish the rules of what the drive-in concert is like or what the show is like. So they got to get up there and say, hey, if you like something, laugh, get out on your hood,
honk your horn.
Yeah. And the horn honking is what drives people nuts. So if you say, hey, no, you don't need to honk the horn after every joke or heckle or anything, because, just get out and have a good time and enjoy yourself. Although I guess there's nothing worse if you're a comedian and somebody doesn't like what you're saying and they leave.
Dead silence.
Or they just start the car.
And go
and like back it up, pull out, beep, beep, beep. As they're driving to Europe, they're trying to give a joke.
Yeah.
So then the second one you saw was another former Indie Country Fest alum.
Yeah, that was 2019. Travis Tritt did a drive-in show in Athens Amphitheater in Georgia, and that baby sold out.
Yeah, it had
sold out.
Aubrey.
No, it had Ashley McBride.
It's an A. It's McBride. I'm trying. I've got to give me credit for all of the country I've had to pour into my brain the last 6-8 months.
The effort's above average. I'll give you that.
I give it like a B-.
Ashley McBride opened for him, and then Travis Tritt and headlined the show. It sold out. It's another one of those drive-ins.
How many people?
They didn't say.
I know. That's what I want to know. Like, I want to know what the numbers are. I want to know. I think for didn't we look up one of them where it was like $200 a car, $250 and $350?
It was 200 GA and then like 350 was VIP.
So,
but I'm sure it's like 4 to 6 people to a car, something like, because what if it's a van, right?
It's going to be like when I was growing up, my parents had that custom van with the seats that would twirl around and the square box TV in it. And we went to see, I think we went to see Spaceballs at the drive-in. And it was me and one of my friends. Right? Me and one of my friends in the front, and there were like 6 dudes in the back hiding under a blanket trying to pretend they weren't there. So
when your radar is jammed.
When you live in Cody, Wyoming, during the summer, you have 2 movie theaters, 2 drive-ins, and in the winter, you have one theater that plays movies that are probably a month, 2, 3, 4 months old. So, you try to get whatever you can. Travis
Tritt did say, though, he was very excited and very enthusiastic about playing in front of a crowd again and back on stage, which obviously any artist would, because that's what they do.
You get the energy.
That's what they live and die for and breathe, and they do their craft. So he's super excited about that, which I believe. I mean, he brings a lot of energy on the stage.
I know what else you're super excited about. The NFL.
NFL announced that on week 6, which is about 3 weeks from now that all their stadiums are going to go to 25% capacity.
Oh, that means Jerry Jones is going to go to like 45 just to,
And whenever Jerry World.
Jerry will do what Jerry wants to do.
So that's interesting too, because look, it's quickly progressing, because there's nobody in the stands to all of a sudden, well, then Jerry had 21.5, was it? The other day?
I think, well, his stadium holds
Cowboys.
100,000, so he's going to go 25 or do whatever he can, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what it is, right? It's capacity
They need
based.
to make that money back, man.
So that's exciting. Progress.
So what do you think about the Titans having like 8 affected players? You think that's going to have an effect on people in the stands or them playing games, or is it
the players? No, the players being infected, I don't think they'll have anything to do with the stands, because you can't touch those players regardless, right? I would say, I know that just happened today, didn't it? It just came out today.
Yeah, it just came out today.
I bet they'll wait
Behind
till
the scenes, we do record on Tuesdays, but you probably know that if you're following our Facebook lives.
And then today they're gonna wait. They're gonna wait as long as possible to see if they can play the game. If that's all the way till Saturday, it's all the way till Saturday.
Hey, that's what you did with the festival. You waited up until the very last moment before you can make a decision. So
well, you
why
just
wouldn't the
don't
NFL?
know, right? It was 2 weeks prior to when we canceled. Everybody else were canceling their shows 3 months, 4 months, 2 months prior to when their actual show was. We didn't postpone until 2 weeks prior to our event.
Right, and the NFL, they have
close.
options. They'll figure out what they want to do.
They'll figure it out, and they got all kinds of ducks there, Jared.
Yeah, did you see the Raiders had they got fined because one person who wasn't on the 40-person staff got through into the locker room after their win, Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago.
Well, it's that tight, right? I mean, you got to be responsible. And
how do they figure out that one person?
I know the rest, and we are